with regards to the UK COVID, so I was looking at the information about it, and they say that if there's any time to actually open, I can take these headphones off now, can't I? If there's any time to open up, it should be it should be over the summer, so that we don't have the third COVID spike in the winter. So the good time to have a good time to have a COVID spike is for now. Is now during the summer, when it's going to be when the least amount of people to die concurrent with other illness, with other concurrent illnesses and comorbidities. When the weather is not when the actual weather isn't going to compound that with other colds, flus, etc., things like that. And obviously it's nice for people to open up during the summer. I don't disagree that the idea that we should open up the economy now is a bad idea necessarily, right? It's gonna have to open up at some point. The issue I have with is just the complete removal of all restrictions. Like, yeah, no mask mandate anymore, back to normal when we have such a high, surging case rate because of the Delta variant, right? Like, we definitely should continue having a mask mandate, and I think having indoor COVID restrictions as well, like the rule of six about people sitting in similar areas, that's still a good idea. I think we should have, but I don't think we should cancel all outdoor events. It should be a little bit more structured than just just have fun. Again, I think it's more of I think it's less of it's not following any of the science as it's been stated. It's just they pushed back quote unquote Freedom Day. It's a fucking ridiculous name. To be able to do so, just to be able to meet some kind of arbitrary goal that they've set, rather than have a proper idea of what's going to be best for the country moving forward, I don't think is a really very good idea. Plus, obviously, I wouldn't trust Sajid Javid as far as I could throw him. But the mask doesn't protect them; it protects other people, and people who have been vaccinated still have a chance of catching it. Like, we should be promoting the idea that masks should be, even if we're not having a mandate, we should still promoting the idea that people should continue wearing them as much as they can do, right? Because you're not just affecting other people. The mask is there for you to protect mask is there for you to protect other people, and you can still catch it when you're wearing a mask. And as soon as one person just doesn't do it and they spread all their COVID germs everywhere, and it settles on everybody else's masks, they all get sick as well, right? It's got to be a concerted effort amongst everybody to keep this under control. Well, then you're just a fucking selfish cunt. Like, sorry. I mean, once we have a level of herd immunity, that's what the vaccination is for, right? Like, whilst there is still a high caseload, we should still wear masks. Maybe down the line, when we do have some. Thank you very much for the follow, Cuba. That's much appreciated. If we have some kind of future in which people do have more herd immunity after the vaccine's been completely administered, then sure, maybe we can have a look at that. But whilst we still have a high caseload, which we really do at the moment, cases are still increasing because of the Delta variant, we should still continuously try to push the idea that people should continue to wear masks for other people's safety. Hey, Chud, thank you very much for sending people my way. It's much appreciated. I'm not enough of a scientist to know exactly what percentage of the population needs to be vaccinated for herd immunity. I'm not. Thank you very much for the follows, everybody who's coming in, yeah? Like, I have friends who have been double vaccinated, who aren't compromised, who have received levels of who have caught COVID and had poor symptoms, right? Like, it's not even it's not paranoia. It's just what's the worst that could happen if everyone continues to wear masks, right? I mean, 90% probably would. I mean, again, I'm not an epidemiologist. I can't exactly tell you where the level to which we get some amount of herd immunity is good. Maybe it is 70%. Like, that seems entirely reasonable to me. But that doesn't mean that until caseloads go down, especially at this point in time, when we do still have a very large amount of population who hasn't had the second vaccination yet, we're less than 50% with regards to double vaccinations on the adult population at this point. We should at least continue to wear masks, even if we're going to open up places. I think that's fine. As I said before, like, if there's going to be some increase in cases currently, we should do that now, whilst we're in the summer, whilst we're in the summer. But we shouldn't renege on mask wearing at this point. Yeah, the football is going to cause a massive caseload, isn't it? Just like we saw the massive caseload over Christmas too. I mean, that's a very big-brained take there of just doing chickenpox COVID parties for everybody, so we all just catch it. I'm sure that's going to have no negative side effects whatsoever. Because I mean, again, I'm not going to claim to be any kind of epidemiologist here, but as far as I'm concerned, there is a level to which I think that's been shown that even if you have been double vaccinated, you can still be a carrier, so you can still be a risk to other people. So just wear the mask. Like, it's just a piece of cloth over your face, and it may save somebody's life theoretically. Like, should we just do away with the idea of public indecency laws just because some people want to wave their dicks around in public? No, we shouldn't. And people are more likely to have adverse effects from catching COVID than they are from seeing your dick. Yeah, I saw loads of people who were in plenty of pubs and gatherings celebrating the result who weren't wearing any masks all over the BBC. It was pretty frustrating. I mean, but the problem is that so I understand, Kuba, that that's going to happen, yeah, and I did say that's going to happen. But then that shouldn't be a reason for stopping mask mandates or stopping lockdowns, right? Or for not stopping lockdowns. I say because I understand, because even if the entire population gets double vaccinated, we can't just keep locking things down because people might catch COVID because they're double vaccine. The case I'm making is because of the high caseload at this point. So because there's a high caseload and the risk of infection is high, and we don't have herd immunity, and there are still people who don't have double vaccines, and people can still be carriers, we should still be have at least some level of some societal expectation for people to take care of each other, considering there is still a risk to people, right? Once we get that, once we hit the herd immunity level, once you have a vast majority of the at-risk population vaccinated, who basically anyone over the age of 18 at this point, it's going to be we have to be able to open up at some point. We should at least have some level of decorum with which we do so. But no, people aren't the people aren't just not vaccinated because they decided not to be. Like, people have some people just haven't had access to the vaccine yet, and these aren't people we should just disregard. People aren't just choosing whether or not to get vaccine. With plenty of the population haven't even been given the opportunity to get their first dose yet. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, I'm not saying it's not funny that theoretically, satirically, in the video game Minecraft, a bunch of Republicans are just going to end up losing their lives because they're all anti-vaxxer idiots, right? I'm not saying that that's technically going to be a bad. I mean, it's going to be sad, but it's not going to be like then there's going to be some net positives to that too. But just because when you thank you very much, Josh, I much appreciate it. But when we look at the impact it's going to have in the UK, when the vaccine rollout has been done based on need rather than ability, there's going to be a point at which there at this current point there are people who haven't been offered a vaccine yet who are going to be at risk by a no holds barred complete removal of any kind of COVID restrictions at all, which is, again, it's just a flagship vanity policy that they're pushing towards without any kind of scientific consensus, because they felt bad about pushing Freedom Day back. Yeah, it will certainly be ironic, and it's funny from it was funny from a conservative standpoint a year ago when they were just ignoring it. It was just like, well, okay, I mean, basically the entirety of the conservative vote is pensioners at this point. If you take away pensioners from the electorate, Labour win the election every time. So the idea that they were not going to bother doing a proper kind of COVID response in March last year, they were just going to kill off their own voter base, which was, again, sad if not ironic, and also teensy bit funny satirically in the video game Minecraft. I'm not sure about US caseloads, and let me just have a quick cursory Google. Look at this article. Yeah, July the 7th. It was only the MSNBC were only talking about it spreading in the United States on the 7th, which was only a couple of days ago. So. But also the issue we have with anti-vaxxers. I mean, obviously they're damaging their own life, which is it's bad for them and they're making a poor individual decision that's going to negatively affect them, right? Okay, sure, but it has a knock-on effect in that it makes herd immunity as a concept harder, because through the population are vaccinated, it's just going to keep circulating, and it can continue to affect people who have been smart enough to take the vaccine, because sometimes people who are vaccinated can still be affected by it. It's not 100% covering. We can't just take this idea that, if you're not if you've not got vaccinated, tough, that's your own fault, when it's not just those people who are affected by those actions. Like, thing that everybody's actions do not exist within a vacuum, and there's always knock-on effects, which is why we should have, I mean, don't say we should like hold people down and force them to get the vaccine, because, at least in the UK, um I know, anarcho-doomerism. At least in the UK, in a post-Wakefield world, all of our vaccine skepticism has kind of died off at this point. We don't really we have one of the highest vaccine uptakes as a percentage of people who say they're going to take it or have taken it in the whole of Europe, and most of the Americas as well, right? Which is good for us, because we can actually pursue herd immunity as a policy. I mean, now, not last year when the government didn't know what herd immunity was, right? Well, exactly. It's just like, well, you have the freedom, like those times you had the freedom to go around and smoke in nightclubs, right? But you had that the passive smoke affects people, and that's why the government litigated in, or sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Legislated. That's what I was looking for. Legislated in response to that by saying, well, no, we can't smoke indoors because it's gonna your specific decision that you've made hurting your own lungs is also gonna hurt other people's lungs as well. I mean, yeah, we literally had Boris Johnson saying, no more fucking lockdowns, let the bodies pile high, I don't even care. That's how sociopathic our government is, because, as I've mentioned in previous streams already, the government only cares about, they only care, they're always in electoral mode. They're in campaigning mode 100% of the time. The only thing that they're looking forward to is the next election, and then creating policies and cultivating some kind of atmosphere that's going to be able to make them more electable next time, not what's going to be best right for the now, which is why they always push this culture war bollocks, right? Even to try and distract you from any failings that they have had. Because again, they've had plenty of failings. I mean, vaccine rollout's been pretty good. Like, I'm not going to deny that we've been very efficient in being able to roll out the vaccine, but that doesn't make up for all the people that died because of poor government policy previously. I mean, he always looks like a clown, to be fair. I mean, if he's going to, I mean, I hate Boris Johnson, but I do respect his right to go out and look like a tit enjoying the football. We've got plenty of funny. Remember that video of him taking a swim at the G7 summit that went around, that did all the rounds around Twitter. I mean, like, I can live for those moments. I think I'm happy with him being able to go to the beach. Like, I will allow him, that particular luxury. Oh, there's one playing rugby where he just bumps into the kid. Fuck, I'm gonna have to find that clip now. I have to watch this. This is very funny. There you go. Man of the people, Boris Johnson there. Look at that. Look at that barge. That is a pro, although he did fall down, so it's not a particularly great one if he's not going to score the try at the end of the day. The hiding in the fridge was a particularly amusing moment, although not particularly amusing when you realise the person who hid in the fridge ended up winning the election. Although I said, like, random moments, like, I mean, I guess it was kind of indicative of his unwillingness to answer questions and have media appearances and actually put his policies under scrutiny. I mean, him hiding in a fridge is hilarious, but it's also a sad indictment of his particular attitude throughout the campaigning period. You wanted to keep wearing masks because there's anti-vaxxers is funny to me. I'm just like, well, I mean, That's not what I said. I said we should continue wearing masks now because in the UK we have a high caseload of the Delta variant, and not everybody is vaccinated because not had the chance to get vaccinated yet. That's different from saying, well, because they're anti-vaxxers, we have to wear masks. That's not the point I was making. We do definitely have to find humour amidst the depressing reality. It's very true. Although, to be fair, like, it's going to be difficult to make satire after the last year. It's going to be very, very difficult to make satire now. And Mando Iannucci's career gone. How is it possible to satirise anything that's happened at this point? It's not possible. It's not possible to create satire anymore. We're in a post-satire world.